Subliminal messaging. You ever go back and rewatch the shows you loved as a kid? Suddenly realize they weren't exactly for kids? Like, how did we all just accept that SpongeBob once asked, "Is mayonnaise an instrument?" while Patrick was literally doing a whole bit about adult incompetence and passive aggression? These shows had layers, just like an onion. And we were just sitting there with our fruit roll-ups, nodding along like it was normal. Let's start with one of the gateway cartoons, Shrek. The entire film is just one long innuendo sandwich with a side of fart jokes to keep the kids distracted. Fiona literally craves violence. Donkey makes jokes about compensating. And there's a moment where Lord Farquaad gets visibly excited in bed. And we all just moved on. As children. Then there's the Animaniacs. A show that taught me more about adult relationships than my 7th grade health class. The writers knew exactly what they were doing, and they were probably giggling the whole time behind their deadline-induced sleep deprivation. Rocko's Modern Life had a whole episode where Rocko works at a phone sex hotline. A Nickelodeon cartoon sent a wallaby to an adult hotline. And the most disturbing part, he was surprisingly good at it. So what's the deal? Is this just clever writing to keep parents entertained along with their children? Or is this a symptom of something darker? Like emotionally drained animators who said, if I have to draw another morally upright anthropomorphic animal, I swear I'm putting in a strip club scene and calling it a ball pit. Take the original VHS cover of The Little Mermaid. At first glance, it's just a majestic undersea palace. Until you realize one of the golden towers looks like it took a very personal trip through Prince Eric's locker room. Someone looked at that artwork, gave it the green light, and went, yep, this feels family friendly. Or how about the infamous moment in the original Rescuers movie, where Disney accidentally slipped a real photo of a topless woman into a background window for 2 whole frames? And then there's the Powerpuff Girls. A show that was supposed to be about sugar, spice, and everything nice. But apparently it also came with a side of leather, latex, and trauma bonding. Remember this guy? That red-skinned, high-heeled, lobster-clawed villain who sounded like Satan moonlighting as a Broadway vocal coach. Of course, the official response is always, it was a mistake, or it wasn't intentional. But I accidentally drew a penis on a castle. I feel like someone would say something. These weren't accidents. They were cries for help of animators who were one boing sound effect away from losing it completely. Either way, it begs the question, if these jokes weren't meant for us, why were they hidden where we definitely find them? Which leads us to a more uncomfortable truth. Maybe the characters weren't the problem. Maybe the real villains were the writers all along. Emotional damage. Children's programming is supposed to be about growth, friendship, and feelings. But let's be honest, most of the time it felt like emotional whiplash wrapped in a catchy theme song. They told us to use our words, then taught us to scream at inanimate objects until they obeyed. It's giving therapy on the surface, dysfunction in the script. Take Arthur, for example. That show claimed to teach conflict resolution, but every other episode ended with someone throwing hands or getting roasted by their friends like it was a middle school diss track. Or Franklin the Turtle. Slow, thoughtful, and always learning, except when he was spiraling because Bearer borrowed his jumper. It was less learning to share and more early exposure to attachment issues. These shows pretended to teach us it's okay to feel angry, but then punished any character who actually expressed it. Be honest, unless your honesty hurts someone's feelings, in which case, lie better. Use your imagination, but also stop making up stories. Sometimes I wonder if these shows were made for kids, or about kids, written by adults who had absolutely no business working through their inner childhood in front of a live audience. Watching Max and Ruby was like watching a therapy session with no therapist. Ruby had full-on controlling older sibling syndrome, and Max was just vibing in silence like a tiny gremlin with unresolved trauma, saying one word per episode. And don't even get me started on the new family member episode arc. You know the one. A new baby or pet arrives, and one of the main characters suddenly becomes possessive, reactive, and comically jealous. This show's message is always the same. It's okay to feel left out, but love expands for everyone. Cute, right? Except if you actually watch the episode, the problem child isn't the issue. The caregivers are just straight up ignoring them. Oh no, Timmy's having an existential meltdown in the corner. And mom and dad are like, look, your new sibling can drool. Isn't that amazing? So maybe the shows weren't teaching life lessons. Maybe they were rehearsing adult dysfunction in a child-safe color palette. And the writers, maybe they were the ones who needed the nap, the snack, and the hug. Coming up next, we turn the camera around and ask, were the creators of these shows trying to form a cult made of kids? Check it out. The year is 1997. You're a child, maybe 6 years old. You've just pledged your undying loyalty to a purple dinosaur who demands that you love him, even though he has never verifiable backstory, no address, and questionable boundaries. You sing, you smile, you clap on cue. Congratulations, you've joined your first cult. Let's be honest. If a real-life adult acted the way your favorite childhood character did, you'd call a hotline. But in children's programming, it's called edutainment. Look at the core elements. A charismatic leader, such as Barney the dinosaur, or Steve from Blue's Clues. Repetitive mantras. I love you, you love me. Group think activities. Everyone claps, everyone sings. Forced emotional bonding. Disciplinary silence when you disobey. Swipe or no swiping. So the 5 pillars of the children's media cult. Let's break it down like a recruitment manual. The charismatic leader. The leader is never questioned. They wear the same clothes every day. They speak in sing-song tones. They ask for your trust and your undivided attention. This is not a teacher. This is a figurehead of movement. Group rituals. Singing. Dancing. Call and response. These aren't fun. These are binding ceremonies. If you don't shout map loud enough, you feel it in your soul. You've let Dora down. The group performs and you must participate. Non-compliance is not an option. Emotional manipulation. Don't you want to be a good friend? Don't you want to be brave like Timmy the talking toothbrush? Guilt, shame, love bombing, gaslighting in glittery font. Isolation from non-believers. Tell your parents what you've learned. Translation, recruit them. If your parents don't know the theme song, they're outsiders. They don't understand. It's not screen time, it's indoctrination time. Merchandising as devotion. No cult is complete without swag. Pajamas, backpacks, lunchbox, bath toys, toothbrushes. If you didn't brush your teeth with a licensed character's face, did you even believe or really brush your teeth? And let's not forget the banishment episode. You know, when a love character leaves or gets replaced, they always say it's a new adventure. Really? They got excommunicated for going off script. Where's Steve now? Why did he really leave? He didn't go to college. He went into witness protection. Look, we're not saying children's media is a literal cult, but if you've ever watched a toddler stare at a screen, slack-jawed, whispering lyrics to a rainbow puppet who hasn't blinked in 3 seasons, you tell me. These weren't just shows, they were systems. And we were the faithful. We clapped when told, we learned the songs. And some part of us still can hear the phrase, clean up, everybody everywhere, without feeling a shiver down our spine.